open centuries. So they fly around on very planned out patterns and burn the areas carefully at the right time of the year, so it just burns at that right low intensity rate. And then they follow up with on-ground burning to fill in patches or protect particular areas in the landscape, like springs or sensitive areas or cultural sites. As well as using traditional oils, there's a lot of use of science. So there's been a lot of science into developing the methodologies for the calculating the carbon benefits, and also they track. Every century ball that's dropped out of the helicopter is tracked on little computers and recorded, so they can map everywhere they burn and figure out exactly what's happened after each fire and use that for next year's planning. Okay, so that's an example of what happens when you do this early season burning. So that's year 2000 before TC buy the property. You can see there's a huge area burned in late season. This has been managed to get much more of this diverse, broken up mosaic pattern on the right. And that's about the sort of intensity you want with the area. The whole area burned on average once every 3 years. That is a very mosaic, broken up pattern. So the reason it works for carbon is the green lines are the 10 years of carbon emissions from fire before when the late season fires were happening. So that's worked out through we've funded a lot of science to work out what happens when you burn, what gases are released, and that's based on the aerial satellite mapping of the burnt areas. You can then calculate how much gases is emitted in each burning year. So you can see the baseline. The average baseline there is about just above the line of 20. And then after 2011, when the early season fire management kicked in, it drops down substantially. So between this level and this level, the part of the abatement that's recognised by the government by changing the fire practices. And you can get paid for that through the Australian government system for carbon credits. And so they recognise the credits, you get so many credits allocated, and then you can sell that into the carbon market. So groups like Qantas and Virgin Airlines and some gas companies have bought those credits to offset their emissions from their normal operations. And so the beauty for us and our partners is we can then use that money for land management. So in Fish River, in 3 years, they sold 40,000 carbon credits. That's ton equivalents of carbon, and got about $900,000 for that. It was a fairly high price because the company that bought them recognised that not only were you getting a carbon benefit, you're getting a biodiversity benefit and a livelihood benefit for the traditional owners. So they paid a bit of a premium price. And so far that's offset about a third of the cost of managing the property. So it sort of set them on a pathway towards sustainable management capacity. And so we're now working on a number of other methodologies which will give them a greater income, and also exploring other opportunities to get money from that land. Because with the Indigenous Ranger programs, once they can get capacity to manage, start doing other things, service, feral pest control for the neighbouring graziers or neighbouring ranches, weed control, all those sorts of things they can do. They do biosecurity work. Some groups are starting to look at ecotourism opportunities. So there's all sorts of things that build off this foundation of capacity through this program. So it's a really nice package that we're hoping that will now scale up. Sorry, I'll just summarise that was just a summary of the benefits over the last 3 years on that property. So yeah, there's reduction in the damaging wildfires, the biodiversity benefits of protecting the species, just people being employed through this program, and there's income coming in. Yeah, so the next steps are trying to scale that up across the north. So already that's a map of this year's recognised registered carbon projects under the government system. So you can see there's a heap of properties that moved into this land management and carbon business and generated quite a bit of money coming back into sustainable land management. And then the other things we're now investing in is new methodologies which will give a greater income. So we're hoping to be able to get these groups to full management capacity. 100% of their management costs can be met by a conservation economy on their land. And some of that will be a mixed fire management, grazing, tourism, whatever it takes in different areas, what mix of things you can do to bring in enough money to manage these areas forever in a conservation way. So that's where we're at. So it's going well. There's a long way to go. You can see it's a big area. We're a small program, but the idea of working with partners, working with traditional owners has been a good idea that has taken us a long way. And the other interesting thing that's starting to happen is some of those registered projects are grazing properties that are now starting to do the same, because a lot of graziers are having trouble with the grazing industry struggles across the north because it's remote, it's marginal land, much of it. There's been market up and bad fluctuations in the market which have forced people out. So some graziers or ranchers are now looking at can they mix their grazing with some other opportunities as well, so that some of those registered projects are graziers who have sold credits as well, which has added to their cattle income. And there's now some nice cooperation starting to develop between indigenous communities and the graziers as well. So it's a nice model to keep going across the north.
Has it always been cooperative, or have there been struggles along the way?
There's been struggles, yeah. There's a long history of land conflict, especially where it's relatively recent that Australia was settled, and within 200 years. So people were pushed up off their land and taken into missions, so there's a lot of conflict in those days. Minor wars all over the country, which you don't hear about much, but and then you get disadvantaged communities living in across the north places. So there's community dysfunction and problems with alcoholism and all those things you get with communities that are pushed off their land. And so there has been a history of conflict within communities. And a lot of the Aboriginal people have been not able to get access to their traditional land for many years. So it's really nice to see that relationships now being re-established. And even with having a native title back, so they don't own the land, but they've maybe in some cases developing a good relationship with the graziers and going back and visiting their ancestors' burial sites. Even that's important to help. And the other nice thing about the whole indigenous piece is that by getting people out actively manage the country, they can then pass their knowledge along to their kids. Because the kids haven't had real jobs, and these are real jobs that they're starting to get, starting to manage the country. They're starting to manage some of the most diverse areas in Australia on behalf of all Australians, generate an income and get real jobs, and so it benefits the whole community in the end. So it's a really nice package to make it work. So it's complicated, but really rewarding to do.
It's interesting to think of the Conservancy partnership program there, whereas there was quite a bit of conflict here actually in Kansas with Nature Conservancy coming in and acquiring so much land, purchasing as opposed to taking it out of the control theoretically at least of the ranchers.
Yep.
And so the partnership idea is something that could be a lot here.
Yeah, no, it's good. And it's also, it's not a good, an American NGO buying land in Australia is not going to go down. It's even worse than buying it in some people's eyes. Now, there is local grant, like in that earlier map, there is some local groups that do buy some land. there hasn't been too much conflict on that because a lot of it's marginal land for agriculture. So as long as it's well managed, the surrounding graziers and agriculturalists don't mind, as long as you're not letting weeds and feral animals come out of the reserve onto their land, they're happy. So there hasn't been a huge amount of conflict about that. The partnership model has worked. And it's also allowed us to scale hugely. Because we're working with so many different groups and finding the right way to help each group. So some groups might need help with just planning, some might need some on-ground capacity, some might need some governance. You know, if you're going to run a business, you've got to develop your management capacity, financial management, set up your bank accounts, all those things that people need to do to run a business. So we find the right way to help each group, as well as do a lot of the science work that underpins methodologies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. There was one of the pictures showed to obtain access, you had to call a phone number, you know. Do the indigenous people have a provision where people can visit for ecotourism, or are they turning the cables back and not letting people in?
No, there's virtually no areas that are closed off.
It's probably good.
They're trying to, a lot of groups are trying to, I guess in North Australia it's been frontier country for many years, so people just thought they could go anywhere. So fishermen really just rock up and set up camp and throw rubbish around. So a lot of these groups are trying to re-establish some control. So they put a sign up saying, please call us, let us know you're going on. So there is some permitting systems in some areas. Other areas they just want to know. So they want to help people in places they can't go. There are places they don't want people to go, like burial sites or whatever. So there's a big effort, I guess, in trying to educate the general community about that. But in general, the Aboriginal people in Australia are amazingly accommodating of everyone. They love sharing their culture, not the secret bits, but all the other bits. They love sharing their culture, and that's a really powerful bit of ecotourism opportunity as well. People love to get out and see bush foods and have things explained by the local people that live there. So there's lots of opportunities to make it quite a positive development up there. That's not to say there's not conflicts in areas. Where I work for an Aboriginal group in the Gulf of Carpentaria, which is a big fishing area, and there's huge conflicts with the fishermen and the Aboriginal people because the fishermen come in and take what they consider to be their traditional fisheries. So that went for years. There's fights, guns fired, and all sorts of things. But while I was working there, they started forming more and more coalitions. And they could agree, the one thing they could agree on was they both didn't like the government. So they started forming these alliances between the Aboriginal people and the government and the fishermen to negotiate with government on use of that area, because they both agreed that we can get our heads together and work out how to manage this local area better